Hello and welcome to the Not Axe Murderers podcast with your co-hosts Flare Gun and
The Water Boy.
welcome. Today, this is episode 2, and we are going to be talking about the culture of axe throwing. I'm very excited about this. I think it'll be very interesting. So yeah, and we even brought a special guest on to help us discuss this. So everyone, welcome. Throwing bows. So I guess, well, who are you?
Well, my real name is Erica, but if you see me in an axe throwing tournament, I would appreciate it. Actually, just call me Bose. I honestly probably won't respond if you call me Erica, unless you're maybe my husband. So just heads up. I throw here out of Baltimore, so
Yeah,
there I am.
That's
that is
awesome.
true. How long have you been in axe throwing, Erica? Just a brief little background of your axe throwing career.
My career, I guess, started at a women's event back for International Women's Day in March of 2022. I had been pressured for about a year or so beforehand by a mutual friend of Graham and I's, Hannah, who at the moment isn't throwing, but hopefully will come back soon. She kept trying to force me to come and play, and I just didn't think that it was for me. And finally, that I knew it was for a good cause, I caved and immediately signed up for a league that started the next day.
Oh, that's awesome.
I've pretty much been throwing ever since, right? Sorry.
I honestly haven't stopped throwing. I've thrown in at least 1, 2, 3 leagues every single season for 2.5 years straight.
Sure. I think both Sam and I have seen you pretty much all the time in there or been in a league with you at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Or a tournament. So, yeah.
Correct.
Always been a joy. In going with your time throwing axes, what would you say is your biggest accomplishment that you have made?
Well, so I think I may have a couple. I'm going to start with my most favorite, that I've beaten Graham in 2 major tournaments. I cannot beat him in any
that was the picture.
Regular season league, but I can beat him in tournaments. This picture is from the ACE US Open in April of this year. And sorry, Graham, I kicked you out of the tournament.
Yeah, so those who unfortunately just listening to the audio, the picture that was brought up was the B bracket. I believe my first or second match in B after being knocked down by PK, actually. Great little PK out of Pittsburgh. And I had to face throwing bows. She'll never let me hear the end of it.
Nope. And then that does technically lead into my next, I guess would say my biggest accomplishment, my best personal accomplishment was this past year at the Urban Open Swiss mid tournament. I was the only one that finished with a undefeated record in, I guess, regular season. And then I was the top finishing female, finishing top 3.
Yeah, which is a huge, amazing accomplishment.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And who was your last match against to become undefeated?
Christina, also out of Baltimore. It was sad that there was 2 women, but my second
during the regular season. Yes.
Uh-huh. So I did play Graham in regular season at the Open, but he was not my last game.
I wasn't your last?
PGD was my last game.
Oh, that's right. PGD was. That's right.
So 2 very pink individuals played in the...
Okay.
He loves wearing pink. I also love wearing pink.
Oh, I thought you were implying him and me. I'm like, I don't see that in any way whatsoever.
And then the only other one that I can really think of that I would love is kind of speaks on the culture is, so 2 months into my axe throwing career, Graham approached me to join the Urban Open skills tournament just to get there, to have a little bit of fun and just enjoy myself. And I reluctantly said yes. And then I actually ended up filling in for someone last minute who had COVID. Sorry, Abby. As in the Big Axe Yahtzee tournament. And we actually finished second. So I got like my first ever major tournament with the support of my team, because I was nervous as all hell. I had Callahan behind me being like, Erica, this is just fun. It's just fun. And that kind of pushed us through.
I remember who else was on our team. We had Lonnie,
Lonnie.
Zoe, and then we have the
Callahan.
third. I guess I'm thinking of a different event. Wasn't it Rachel?
Rachel was in our skills when we did like the 1.5
right.
big axe and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right. Wrong
But
one.
the big axe main tournament that we actually finished second in was with Callahan.
Yes.
That's awesome. And like, I know, like you've been throwing a while, but in the grand scheme of throwing, like, I don't think you've really been throwing that long, and you've made some incredible accomplishments. So that's really cool.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I know this question isn't on the question list, so I'm sorry, but I just thought of it.
Uh-oh.
It's fine.
But like, so you seem really involved. So, how involved do you see yourself kind of being in like the axe community?
I'm a very social person. If you've met me, you've met me. You know that for sure. I'm really involved in just as many people and just axe throwing in general. Like I said, I've been in 3 leagues at once. I now am actually driving an hour and a half up to Choppers to play in the All Women's Premier League once a week for 8 weeks.
Yeah, that's so fun though. That's awesome, and I love that Choppers does that.
It's such a good time too. If anyone has the chance to do it, they're so accommodating. If you do need to, only come up a certain amount of times, it's been worth it.
That is awesome. I know I want to do that at some point for sure. But going off of that, so would you say, you're pretty experienced, and you're very involved. So do you think that axe throwing even has a specific culture?
A specific culture, I wouldn't say so. I think that it's a mesh of cultures all together in one spot of people that are all like super friendly. Okay. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it does make sense. What would you say about that, Graham?
I would say it's its own little niche, but it attracts so many other different people from different backgrounds, different everything. It's its own little it is definitely its own little culture of many subcultures as well.
I heard the Freudian cult slip. Don't worry, I heard it.
The what? You always pick it.
Don't use big words for Graham.
Yes, simple, slow. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I can definitely see that. I think, at least from my experience, I do think, though, interestingly enough, that like, because there are so many different people from so many different backgrounds that kind of do come into axe throwing, I think in kind of like a weird way that can almost create its own culture and its own vibe that's kind of like different from anywhere else that you can't really experience anywhere else, because I think that
agreed.
Yeah, because I think people are so, I don't know, at least from my personal experience, people have been so open and like just awesome and friendly. And I haven't really seen that, I think, anywhere else. So I think it's pretty cool. So I guess kind of going off that, how would we kind of try and at least, because there's so many people from so many places, is there any way that we could kind of describe or maybe narrow down that idea of what the culture could potentially be?
Jeremy, you want to start that one?
Describing what the culture can be?
So I think a good amount of me wants to say it's a place that adults, how do I put this? Find a place to belong. I think it's really hard as an adult to make friends. But that might not be the answer either.
I mean, I don't know. I would kind of agree with that, at least for me. I'm someone who's personally always struggled to make friends, and I kind of like came into the axe world and I was like, I'm gonna be so honest, all these people are really weird, but like they're really cool and like weird like me. So I was like, I really like it here.
It isn't just a
Agreed.
bunch of weirdos all together, but everyone is weird in their own very odd way.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. I don't know. I think it's like maybe culture, like I guess isn't the right word here. Do you think that community would be a better word instead of culture?
Yeah, definitely. I think that's why some of the questions when you sent them, I was like, I'm not sure I like feel the word culture. Like I know the answer to that.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I think community might I think it might be a better way to look at it. Cuz I don't know. I guess it is. Yes. Yes.
You do kind of go hand in hand. You
Yeah.
can't say that they're that much different. I just think the community just, in my mind,
Mhm.
sounds a little bit more. I think because we always call it the axe throwing community, that
Mm.
it kind of
That's true.
makes it seem a little bit more on point.
No, that
Yeah.
makes sense. I can see that. So I guess do we want to like I mean we can even circle back around then and rephrase because do you think it would be easier to answer the questions saying if we were like, well, how would you describe, the axe throwing community versus like the
Community.
culture?
I think either way it'll be fine. I just think that in the end, like they're gonna mean the same. They'd have the same kind of meaning.
Okay.
So I'll keep it in mind.
Okay.
So I would say going forward though, but then you hate to have obviously negatives with anything, but what would you say though? What have you gotten out as the positives and the negatives to be part of this community?
Oh, that's really hard. Wow, Graham, throwing that one on the spot. There's honestly so many positives. Before I am a childless millennial. So before, finding the axe throwing, community, culture, both whatever we want to call it, I kind of felt misplaced a lot of times. So that I now feel like I have a place because it doesn't really matter if you have kids, if you don't have kids, or, who you are,
Yeah.
you belong. I have heard some stories of some negatives, as I think, as a woman, there's some, negative connotations, that you hear every once in a while. And just people that don't, in the end, don't, I don't want to say don't belong in the community, but don't bring like a negative energy. There's not many at all, but there are, there definitely have to be some out there.
Yeah, I think you're right. The community also, though, definitely unfortunately has negatives. And I think it's been brought to light by many different people, unfortunately. And we know about some. We might not all of us might know about all of them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like those people don't fit in because they're definitely.
That's why I said they don't not belong.
Yeah, exactly. But it's things happen, and unfortunately, it just brings a negative light to the community that we have, that we all enjoy. But as you say, yes, there's so many positives, so many. Everything from just going to all the events and.
Negative. It's cost a lot of money.
That's a positive. I'm saying.
That is not a
all that money
positive.
we all have to spend. Yes, all the money that we both just spent recently on new axes, which you don't need.
I just paid that last balance of mine.
Yeah, I need to pay a balance. That's gonna be fun after this podcast.
Yeah, I think I agree for the most part that I definitely think there are definitely a lot of positives. I really think people's attitudes are very welcoming for the most part, and I think people are really open and understanding, and they're willing to help you learn, at least from my experience. And I will say though, I think, okay, all right, this might be this maybe should go in the spicy take section. Okay, so we might
Ooh.
but sometimes potentially and this could also be just because from my perspective, I don't have as much experience with like other acts communities really outside of the main hub that I throw because I haven't traveled that much and I'm still pretty new. But like,
Correct.
I don't know. I know that there is definitely kind of like I think there can be a very big party attitude sometimes in axe throwing. And I was wondering, do you guys think that like, I don't know, could that party attitude sometimes can that go too far? Do you think it's like a really good thing? I think most of the time it's fine, and I think it's totally fine, but I think sometimes it can be like, whoa, that's kind of crazy.
It could definitely dissuade people from certain aspects of what we do in our own community. I mean, we have our events. That's what most of us are coming here to do. We have our leagues. But then outside of it, going out to a bar or doing something like that might not be everyone's cup of tea. And that's fine. I think that's also the best, another positive of the community is that that's okay. It's that for the most part, we all accept everyone for that. And you don't want to drink, you don't want to partake, that's totally fine. You can go do and hang out and do whatever you want. You don't have to come out and join us. We'll see you next week, and we'll be happy to see you. Can't wait to see you again.
And I think like if there's ever a feeling of, if you're feeling that you're maybe pressured to be doing it, most of the people that are going to pressure you are your friends just because they know that you would typically go out. I've never seen anyone pressure, at least within my experience, to go do something that they don't want to do, that they aren't like close with.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, we may kind of like rag on each other if one of us is going and the other one's not.
Yeah.
But honestly, because the other ones have already gone, there's plenty of people that don't go out at all. They come in the league, they enjoy themselves, and they go home. And there's always the ask, do you want to join us?
Correct.
No
There's
one's
never,
ever like excluded from that.
Yeah.
That's a,
Yeah.
you know, but that's
Why
also
didn't Erica
positive.
join us? Or I mean, I think a really great example is actually you, Sam.
Me?
The first time you joined, yes, you.
Oh gosh.
The first time you enjoyed and partaked with us at Sharky's, our local bar down here in Baltimore. Yes, I know. You were probably reluctant. That's just me, my own opinion, but I think you were probably reluctant. But you came out, you joined us, you hung out with us, and it was a great bonding experience, I think.
I agree. I definitely think it was a great bonding experience. Okay, so the very first time I went to Sharky's, I was not reluctant per se. I was actually
Okay, sorry.
no, you're fine. I'm gonna be so real with you guys. I was actually really excited because like I had heard people talk about this mysterious place called Sharky's, and I was like, oh my god, I just got invited to Sharky's. Does that mean I'm like in now? I'm like a cool kid? Oh my god.
So really quick, guys, I don't know if this happened for you guys or not, but you guys went way wonky. I could not hear a word you were saying, so I'm sorry if I missed anything.
No, you're good. It it might have just been some Wi-Fi issues. I didn't get
That's
it
fine.
on this side. Okay.
Okay.
What was the last thing you heard, Erica?
All I heard was I got invited to Sharky's. I'm in part of it.
So you heard all of what I said, but it was Sam. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. No, you didn't really miss anything.
Of course you did. You should say it again.
I'll just listen.
That's true. In a nutshell, Sam was excited to come join us, and we were happy to have her.
Yes.
And yeah,
Perfect.
It was a great time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I do think too, like, I mean, I agree, and I think you guys had great answers, and I think those are like actually plays into the positives of like, you know, why the community is super open and accepting because you don't really have to go out and do those things, but okay, all right, I know.
Yeah,
but
it's kind of.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say it's kind of like for me, it's going to any of those giant, say, 3-day tournaments. They have all their stuff they do. You don't have to partake in all of it. They also usually typically have an after party. You don't have to partake in that. Obviously, you always if you've been in the community, you hear all the great stories afterwards, and sometimes some people are probably like, "Oh my god, I wish I was there for that." But yeah, no one's gonna be told
Yeah,
butthurt.
the only-
They won't show up to it.
That actually comes into the only people that are gonna pressure you to go is me pressuring Graham to come to the urban after party.
That is true.
Because he never comes.
Yes.
Yeah.
2
He's
years now.
missing
2 years.
my
I'm
beautiful
gone.
voice. My rendition of Fat Bottom Girls that I do every single year. You're missing it.
Yeah, I think I definitely think though there is a huge, I mean, even for me, like I've never been a big partier, but I really think that there is a huge sense of like FOMO sometimes, especially when you're like, really trying to make friends and get close to people. So I don't know. I think sometimes too that definitely it can be a good thing because it can help people and like get them out of their shells, But I think sometimes too that can maybe push people away. But speaking of that, do you guys think that axe throwing could maybe not be for everyone?
I think absolutely. I mean, I think everything doesn't have to be for everyone. I think it's that culture that we have is what keeps people coming back for the most part. Obviously, I think another big issue is always money, but if you negate the money issue, everyone would probably want to come back. 99.9% of the time, everyone would want to. There's probably that little faction that doesn't want to join back because of something or whatever feelings they may have. But everyone enjoys it. They want to come back. They enjoy it. They have a good time.
I would say like everyone can be an axe thrower. Not everyone is probably meant to be an axe thrower, not because they don't have the skill, just it may not be their, they might not be that weird person that likes to hang out with other weird people. If people are judgy, I don't think that they are going to enjoy being in the axe community. Like if you're going to judge, people for being who they are, I know that, the axe community sticks up for each other. If you're going to, if you're going to be that person that causes, drama and to hurt other people within the axe community, we all have our, our axe family that are going to stick up for us.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I guess you definitely, if you really, I think, are someone who wants to be involved, especially, with like the IATF side and that kind of thing, you probably are gonna have to be okay with weirdos, which is not a bad thing, but you're just gonna have to be okay with it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like anyone can be an axe or anyone can throw an axe. With it be to join the culture and to join the community, you can, but just know that being judgmental is not accepted. I would say, at least on my personal end.
Yeah.
And then, go ahead.
Oh, okay. No, I mean, I agree because I think I like that you pointed out too that anyone can be an axe thrower, but I think it is very different to just be an axe thrower versus being in the axe throwing community, and I think those are two different things, and I think that you brought up a good point.
I feel smart now.
You're always smart.
Oh.
So then that could definitely lead into, do you think then, what are the mentalities that people do you think come into the axe throwing community? Does everyone come in wanting to be competitive because that's how they came in for a practice session? That, this seems like it could be very competitive. I want to keep coming back because I want to be really good at this, and I've heard there's tournaments, etc. Or there's the people. I feel like your friend Sam, who came to the open house, and now he's in league, and he's just here for just casual, great time.
Yeah.
I think. Again, I don't know for sure, but that's my guess.
No, you're probably right about that, because I think it's really different, for people who are like just wanting to come and have a good time versus people who are kind of in it to win it. But I think that, maybe moving from that. So like, do we think there's any prevalent subcultures or communities that, you know, really stand out in axe throwing?
Well, so can we go back to the fun versus competitive?
Yeah.
I like got something in the brain. Gotta get it out.
Yeah. Get it out.
I really think that people come into axe throwing for fun and then become competitive. At least that's what I've seen from most that I've seen join league. Everyone that I've met through competition have already been in the competition world. But, you know, like you, Sam, you know, you joined and you enjoyed it right away and you wanted to get really good. But, you know, I know you signed up for the open right away, but when you signed up, was it for fun or was it to be good at a sport? Or both?
It was definitely both. For me, it was definitely both. Yeah.
Because I personally came in with just like, wow, this is fun. This is something I can do. Not that I can be good at, but that I can do. It wasn't until I realized that I was like kind of good that I was like, oh, maybe I should compete.
Yeah, I think for me, like the very first time I went, I was like, oh, this is fun. But then really as soon as I learned that I was like, oh, this is kind of like a competitive thing and it's kind of fun, I was immediately like, oh, I want to be good at this thing. But that's also because I'm, at least not everyone is this way, but I'm also like a hyper competitive person. So for me, it's very easy to be like, oh, this is it. We're on the ground, taking off. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure you, Graham, did you also come in and you were just, it was for fun and then kind of transition to the competitive side as well?
Yes. It was definitely that circumstance. The only downside was I started working there as well at Urban, and that just fueled the itch even more, as well as all the leagues I did when, everyone knows I do too many leagues, both in IATF and in the water world. Erica can attest to that.
I think there might have been a time where he was throwing axes every single day of the week.
Oh my gosh.
I think that was true. I think there was a season I did.
Maybe not Saturday.
Monday. I didn't do weekend, yeah. But you're right.
You did knives on Sunday.
You're right. I did do it. So it might have been like a Sunday, then Monday rec league at Urban, OG Tuesday, Wednesday Waddle, and then Thursday premiere back at Urban. Yeah. Yep. That was
Friday, Saturday.
Yeah.
Wow.
Something, some sort of days off. Where was the question with that one? Okay, we got sidetracked a little bit.
No, you're fine.
These are for fun.
Oh.
Yeah, it was the for fun one. But I think in a weird way, I actually think that like I definitely think that the casual people and the competitive people definitely have their own like sub communities, and I think it's this is my personal opinion, all right? You can flame me for this if you want. But I think they're really different, and I think it's a very different vibe when you just hang out with the people who are totally there just to throw casually versus the people who are there to throw competitively, and I think those vibes are very different from my personal experience. What do you guys think?
I think that the vibes at league are different. I think outside of league, I think that there is a good mesh, because we all throw in the same, league together. Mm-hmm. Some of the leagues hang out outside of axes. I think when you're in the axe arena, you're very right there. Personalities, everything's going to be a little bit different.
No, I agree. I think you brought up a good point too, where it's like, it's very different when you're at league versus when you're outside of the zone, because I think when you're in that zone too, I don't know. I guess this might be me. Another flame me if you want to flame me.
Samism.
But I don't know. I think it to me it feels weird when you're throwing against someone who's like just there to like have fun, and you're like super competitive. I think sometimes I'm like, I don't know. It doesn't always necessarily feel great to win, if that makes sense, because it's like, oh well, yeah, they're just there to have fun, and I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel great on the inside.
I think I feel that for sure, but in the end, the axe game is an individual game.
Mhm.
It's something that you have to do for yourself. If they're there to throw, and that makes them happy, and you're there to get better, and that makes you happy, you're each doing what makes you happy.
That's true.
So
Yeah,
that's kind of my
you each you're each accepting what your other one is doing there and why they're there. So you know that you're there to compete and be more competitive. You want to get better. So say you're going to go 100% clutch. The other person's going to stay down because they're just here to have fun. They don't really need that right now. That's not part of their acts or career or where they're at.
See, and this is why we bring the experienced people on, sharing their wisdom. Okay.
Also, fun fact.
Yeah.
I gave Sam her axe name.
Well, I think. So I don't even know what happened with that. Did you suggest that to because okay, because I think Adam definitely takes credit for that.
Yeah, he did.
He may have said something. He may have said it like in like, oh, like a flare gun. And I was like, that's it. I think I was the one who was like sealed the nail in the coffin. Like, this is 100% what you've got to go by.
No, you definitely sealed the nail in the coffin because I know it was Adam and CJ and they called me over and I was like, I literally thought I was in trouble because they both like called me over. I was like, oh, what did I do? What did I do wrong? And then I know you came over and you were like, that's it. And I was like, okay, that's it. That's it.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there. I just thought about it.
No, you're fine.
I think both of you had already left last Tuesday before we were Dudley. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. I went home and went to bed.
That's right, you did. As soon as Justin's last match was over, you were gone. And you might have already been gone too, Sam. But some of the rookies came out and just hung out by the fire, and league was still going on. And we got talking about axe handle names, and because obviously everyone comes in with your name, and then most people get bestowed an axe name.
Wait, are you going to talk about the sexy names?
I wasn't going to talk about the sexy names.
Oh, okay. Well, because I know we talked about at League last week around the fire, like people with like kind of like the sexy axe names that have like sexual implications. I don't know if that's what you were. Okay, I guess you weren't gonna bring that up.
No,
Sorry.
that was not where I was going with it.
Oh, my bad. Sorry. Keep talking. Ignore me.
Now I can't ignore you. No, it was just fascinating because your friend, as well as one of the other new rookies, were kind of getting caught in that whole conversation of like, oh, I didn't know I needed an axe name. And we were just explaining them, no, you don't really need one. You can kind of get one just from coming here. We see things, nicknames, you do something, or like I said, you're bestowed upon it. It's given to you. Just like Erica helped with you, Sam. But I think they were very excited about that part of the culture of like, oh, we get to change our name. And
I was like, that is a huge part of I think the culture is to, that's why I said in the very beginning, I don't really go by my real name, in the X world.
Yeah.
And you always remember who gives it to you and like the story behind it. And
no, I agree. I think a lot of people don't. I know we touched about names like a little bit on the first episode, but we can talk about it now more for sure. I think it's, I don't know. There's a lot. I would say I don't know about a majority, but it's probably like 50 people that go by their real names.
50 feet?
No, 50-50. Sorry, no feet. Of people that go by their real names, versus their axe names. And I think, I don't know. I know some people they do come up with their own name, but I think a lot of people that do come up with those names, like they end up changing them later because they get a name that someone gave them. Would you guys agree with that?
Graham.
Yes, we touched about this before.
Yeah.
I think again, it was taking my two interests of Lego and axes, and that was my first axe handle, Lego my axe. But then down the road, Raging Radish and CJ came the idea that I should be the water boy again with my excessive watering of the boards. So, but yes, this is definitely a change. You have to get it and then change it. I mean, I think not everyone though. Because Erica, I don't believe you had that situation. It was bows all the way.
Yeah, I think if I were to ever change it, it would just be shortened to just bows, but I don't think I would change it at all.
But someone gave you your name, right? Or did you? Yeah. So I think.
I don't think you've met him yet, though. Unfortunately, I don't think he's technically retired.
Okay.
Talking to you, Riggs.
Huh? Who?
Riggs.
Oh, Riggs. Riggs gave you a name? I don't know. I probably discussed this with you, and we've probably talked about it before, and of course, and I always forget everything.
Yeah, he asked me the one day I came into League. So bows has always been like my thing. I've always really liked to wear bows. It's a long story. I'm not even gonna get into it. But the one day he came up to me probably 6 weeks into League and goes, "How many bows do you actually have?" And at that time, I think the answer was 52. And that's where the name came from. I will tell you that it is way more than 52, but we're not gonna talk about that.
How many do you have now?
I can't count them.
Okay.
She could show us. It's a very nice collection. Not gonna lie.
I have a wall.
A wall?
Hold on. I'm gonna turn my screen off and then I'll turn myself on in a second.
Okay.
Keep talking. I'm still here.
Oh, no. Okay. Hold on.
No, I turned my camera off.
No, you did, but I'm gonna have
What
to.
did I do?
You didn't do anything. Don't worry about it. Nope, you're good. It was not your fault.
Did I do something?
You did not do anything. You're so good.
Okay.
It's just the way, because I'll just edit it. It's okay.
Okay.
Oh wow.
There's my wall of bows.
That is awesome.
There's my Chitzel logo. Now I'm going back on another adventure through my house.
Oh.
That's in my closet room. I have an entire room that's my closet.
Okay, don't. Oh no! Wait. Okay.
What happened?
Okay, hold on.
What do you need, Sam?
The cameras have fucked up. Wait. Oh, it's good now. It's good now. Now we're back. We're back.
Did I do something wrong?
You didn't do anything wrong. It's just
Okay.
Discord. You're good. Don't worry.
It's just Discord.
It's just Discord.
Yes, she has so many bows that she can just share them with all of us, and she'll still
give them away.
so many to choose from, or you just give them away. Yeah. Well, she did the nice thing of she made little tiny. Those of you with the audio, but she made little tiny, like, half-inch little tiny bows for all of us, and that was fun. She gave those out. That was fun.
That's awesome. I know there are some other I know we don't have these written down, but there's some other, like, I think things that are a little bit more specific to the axe community. I don't know if we want to talk about those things. At least something that really stuck out to me when I first got here was finding out about the stickers, and I was like, oh my god, this is so cool. So, I mean, we have the stickers, of course, and then we have the axe names. Is there anything else that comes to y'all's mind when it comes to something that's maybe axe community specific?
Just a couple people have their own t-shirts.
True. Customized t-shirt, customized gear in that sense. Yeah.
The custom axe community itself. The amount of people that have paid, as we talked about kind of earlier, that have paid money for, custom axes is also a big thing as well. I throw this handle and everybody knows who that is. Most people know who that is.
Yeah. You could tell me, for example, Woozy's first name, and I probably won't even know it. And you'll be like, oh, Woozy? I'm like, oh, yeah, now I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I personally throw currently a Kevin Bradley hatchet and a Woozy pickaxe. So people that are listening are going to know. Most people are going to know what that means.
That's
so
true.
actually, this dives way back to the beginning, and I apologize, Sam. You kind of just said it, but what do you throw, Erica? What is in your bag? If someone does to look in your bag, what do you throw?
Well, first off, there's probably a bow in my bag, or more than one.
Probably there is. There's always a
Yeah.
bow.
I throw an IATF hatchet. I did throw a butcher for clutch for a little while. I would say back when Swiss first happened last year, I stopped throwing two axes at once, probably a year and a half ago, and I throw an Agdor big axe.
On a whose
And a
handle is
Woozy
that?
handle. Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah, but that one's currently a Yankee big axe. I did throw a
Oh,
Montreal
great.
for
It's
a long
smaller.
time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And it's been working like dynamite for you.
It's as probably as light as they're technically allowed to be.
Oh wow. Yeah. I'm gonna out myself here, but I recently found out that both of my big axes are illegal because I am small brain, so no to get a new one. Always measure your axes before you cut them.
You cut.
Yeah.
When I made CJ cut my first Agdor, I was like, I want it to be this long. He goes, I'm going to make it this long, like a little bit longer, just to make sure that it does not, it continues to meet regs.
Yeah, I think that's smart. It's always better to be safe than sorry because you can always take more wood off, but you can't add more wood on, But anyway, sorry. I didn't mean to anyway tangent, but circling back, I think that the specific equipment is definitely like an axe thing, but I think too it's really interesting. I think it's really that can be any sport thing, but whereas like if just baseball as example, for baseball it's like, well, what kind of bat do you use? Like what kind of glove do you use? Like it's really interesting because I've never been a super big sports person, but like every sport has their own individualized equipment, and I think when you can get like into the nitty-gritty and you really understand like how things work and who the best makers are and da 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 da, and I think it can make it feel like, I don't know what the right word is here, intimate? I don't know, intimate is not the right word. Like just not, you're more knowledgeable on it, and I think it makes you feel more included, yeah.
To go back, you're talking of how we like to not represent. We like to advertise ourselves with our stickers. I think the other great thing is that if everyone's different in how they advertise with either their stickers. Some of us have patches, some of us do pins, and then that all reflects also onto our gear. So some people put those stickers on their axes. Some people put them on their bags for like patches and such like that. And I think that's always a nice little fascinating thing when you can be like, oh, 20 of us have the same axe bag, but Erica's like, go get me this. I'm like, oh, which one is it? Which bag is that? Oh, it's the one with the bow, or the one with this only because it has these particular patches on it, or something like that. It's a great way of we all make our own unique little accessorize ourselves in our community.
Yeah, I think that's really interesting to me because I was into anime and stuff for a long time, and something that's kind of popular in that community is Ida bagging specifically. So that coming into the axe world and then seeing that was something that was really similar to something that I already did, and I was like, oh wow, that's really cool that something so similar exists in a community that's like so different but also really not that different, because I'm gonna be honest, everyone's really weird. A lot of people like anime and I was in the community, so
Can you say that word again?
Ida bagging.
Can you spell it?
Yeah. it's ITABAGGING.
That's not how I would have spelled it at all.
So basically what it is it's like they're either like, they can be backpacks, messenger bags, just purses, whatever, but generally they have like a clear front casing over them, and then there's like a slot and you can put pins and keychains and stuff like that, and it makes them displayable, but it also protects them, and it basically covers the whole area of the bag. So it's like,
Okay.
yeah. So it's kind of similar. I mean, it's not the same because it's, they're Axe bags, but it actually is pretty similar. But going back to the stickers also as business cards, I think something that I've noticed is really how everyone markets themselves so heavily in the Axe community if you're really like a competitive thrower, and I think that's really interesting. Do you guys have any thoughts like on that? Do you guys think that people are like, ho ho ho? I mean, not in like a bad way, kind of like in a fun way, but it is, since it is a very individualized sport, you really are your own champion, I guess.
It's kind of odd because I think some of the bigger Axe throwers don't actually have stickers.
Really?
Like I'm trying to think.
True.
I'm trying to think about it.
Like, do we know if Brander or Kimmy and Stormy?
I don't know if any of them have one. I could be wrong.
I mean, we obviously know there's lots of big throwers. The only people who are, I think, are only up there on that stage that I know of stickers are, well, I would say Vin, but Vin has his own. Vin Crescenzo has his own axe making company, Philly Axe Co. So that's more of his company sticker. The only other person I think, though, is Uncle Willie, who throws out of, well, he did throw out of Urban Philly. I can't tell you I know where he's throwing out, but he has his own sticker. But yeah, you're right. Not many really advertise themselves. They also stick. I feel like those top throwers stick to what they've been in the game a while, so they know what works. So they're not dabbling with other axes. They always know, like, this is what works. This is what I throw. I'm not going to try anything else for the most part. Yeah.
So, but I want to go back off of the word accessories because accessorizing, like I would say 90% of my axe jewelry is all from the same maker. I'm actually wearing both her necklace and her earrings right now. So you could definitely accessorize yourself for sure in axe gear. This is all Love and Axis.
Yes, huge shout out to Love and Axis for everything that she does for the community and for everything we wear. Yeah, it's always wonderful.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's really interesting. Okay. Do you guys think that I mean, you kind of touched on it, but is the reason that the kind of top tier throwers, do you really think it's because they've been in the game so long, or do you think, they just maybe don't necessarily feel, I guess, the need to almost advertise themselves because people do know them, like the community really, in reality, it is only so big at the end of the day. So like, do you guys think it's like, oh, well, I'm already here, so I don't need to advertise myself, or it's just, I'm going to stick with what I know?
Erica, what do you think?
Their personality, that they just, don't, I would say don't I don't want to use the words don't care, but like, it's just not who they are.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. They don't feel the need to, or
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they're just.
They're also spending all their money playing on all of the stages.
That is true. That's true. Their money's going to all the events they are competing in.
Yeah, I can't afford stickers when you're throwing in.
Not on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Their minds are not on stickers or.
I actually didn't even buy my own first pack of stickers. Graham bought it for me for my birthday.
That is true. You're welcome. Really? Yeah. It was a surprise. She got her awesome, we can probably see it on the camera, her awesome tattoo.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes. Shout out to, what is his company? What's
Coffin.
Thank you. Kurt Coffin. Yeah, he did her axe tattoo, which is fabulous. And then a surprise, I was like, Nathan, can you please, can I pay for that file? I don't know if I'm not that I paid for it, but I asked for the file in some way, and he's like, sure. So yeah, and then the surprise was bestowed upon Erica, and
I'm not going to buy them for myself, but yeah, I did not, having a sticker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
No, That's very fun. Yeah, I mean, I know. Okay, so I know we kind of like already touched about this a little bit. So if you guys are like, you know, we don't have to touch on it anymore. But, Graham, do you wanna ask this one about the casual and competitive, or?
Yeah, we kind of talked about it. It's whether or not is there much of a difference between the people who enter into our axe community of their competitiveness to casualness, and I think
I think we kind of I think everything that we said really kind of fills that answer. I don't know if I
Yeah.
would say have anything else really to add to that.
Okay.
Because
So
like I
go ahead. Sorry.
yeah. No, that's all right. I don't think I have anything else to add to that.
Okay. So I know something that I kind of wanted to bring up. Um,
always behind my back. I'm just
um, no, is age and the axe throwing community, because I know that the
yes,
axe community is definitely a little bit older for the most part. At least, you know, from my experience, because I think too, a lot of younger throwers, or just younger people in general who are throwing, I think they do tend to get like, people are like, oh my gosh, that's kind of weird. They're like young and maybe not horrible. But like, is there a reason that you guys think that the action community is kind of older a little bit in general? And not like,
Yes, she's calling us old.
I'm not calling you
she is
guys
calling us
old.
old.
I'm just talking
Yes,
about
you
like,
are,
okay,
and it's okay.
that is not what I'm saying.
No, I understand that, you know, for sure. But I don't even know I'm not even sure you're aware of the range that there really is.
Yeah, I might not be.
You know, we have some throwers that are older than we are, and then we have throwers that are as young as like 8 and 9. Not as much in the ITF, you know, or all that well out there. They're only 8 or 9. But my thoughts that the reason there aren't early 20s in the Axon community is they're currently all out partying.
Well, that, and then also I think it's also the money. I think that was a big issue that came up when, again, Sam, when you brought your friends,
Mm-hmm.
they even said it. It was, you know, let me just check my finances. We
Yeah.
all know that this is obviously bare minimum. Just doing a league and using a house axe is not a cheap thing, especially to do it repetitively in multiple leagues. So I think that could be a big thing too. But if you circle around back to the age, I think what's kind of fascinating is, though, not all of us start, like, quote, at a young age and then stay with it because we love the culture and the community. You have people who are in it who come in at an older age because either they're retired or, you know, at an older age. I mean, to name drop just a couple, in Tuesday, for example, we have Speed, who we all know is probably one of our oldest throwers. But then
Happy
you also
birthday!
have, yes, happy birthday, Speed.
Happy
Your birthday
birthday.
was yesterday?
Yesterday.
Yes, yesterday, yes.
Happy late birthday.
Yes, he was, I think he's what, 35, 36? He's fun to,
Oh, I thought it
Oh,
was
yeah,
like
totally.
28.
totally. Yeah, totally. But then Fina's husband, I can't,
Hmm.
his name escapes me, but yeah, just an older thrower who's just come for the fun of it. I think he stepped away for a couple seasons, but now he's back, and we're excited to have him back. But yeah, I think that's a nice mix.
Oh, you
get
mean David?
people-
Is that who you're asking about?
is his name David?
Mhm.
I'd have to look it up on Axe Force.
Yeah, I'm almost positive
Yeah,
that's who you're talking about.
Okay, because yeah, she came on
Mhm.
Tuesday, and we were hoping that she was going to join too, but she wasn't. She was just there to support and watch. But her husband was, yeah. But yeah, no, I think the age thing. You have people who come in and they throw because, you know, they love it, enjoy it from a maybe somewhat prevalent after college young age. But then you have the other ones like Speed and everyone who just they find this culture and then they just enjoy it and enjoy helping all the younger ones. I mean, Speed working with Sam's friend on week 1, just coaching him and giving him such great pointers.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree about the money portion for sure. I think axe throwing is not cheap. It's not cheap. I do think though I don't know. I guess too this might get into some interesting stuff, but I think the marketing for axe throwing, I guess too, I just don't necessarily think that it's really targeted at a younger audience, like, which I understand, like early 20s, even like late teens. And because I don't think that's their target demographic, right? So, and I understand why, right? But even for like there are definitely younger throwers and kid throwers and kid leagues and all that stuff, but I'm newer. I know maybe that I could be wrong. Could be wrong. It's okay. But I just don't necessarily see that, I suppose, as, the grand majority of people too. Like, I think those are usually the exceptions to the rules. Because I know, I think we brought up PK earlier, but like PK is like a really big exception to the rule, right? In my personal opinion, because he is really young and he's very good. But I think it's one of those things where it's just like, I don't know. I just don't think it's the target demographic, whether it is for money or because maybe it is because they don't want people that are young and dumb coming in and being like, woo, crazy party time with sharp objects. Who knows? But I think that's...
Do you think...
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, go.
I was going to say, so you also have to think about the fact that a lot of places are 21 and over. So it's not really going to be marketed towards college or hasn't been because, you would hate to turn somebody away. Like, let's just say the marketing was out there for, 18, 19, 20, 21 before we became, or especially urban Baltimore specifically, allowing those that were under 21. So it's kind of like, you're not going to hear about it because you're not old enough, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree, and I think that makes complete sense. I don't necessarily think that it's a bad thing. I think it's just something that I've definitely noticed. But yeah, I think too, it's one of those things. How do I phrase this?
Do you think age matters? Like, does it feel like age matters to you, like within the culture?
Absolutely not. No.
I don't either, but I wanted to know kind of like Sam's thoughts, being that younger end.
Yeah, I don't think it matters, but I think sometimes it can make it a little bit potentially intimidating. I'm fortunate enough that I've never gotten along with people my own age. I tend to actually strongly dislike them. But I think it can matter for some people. I don't think it matters for everyone. For me, I could not give a flying fart. But I definitely think there are some people that it does matter. Not for me though.
So I was gonna say, I think there are so many people that I don't even realize their age. I very specifically, so last week I was, at League up in Jersey, and I like brought up something about, so like I just recently switched a job. I was like, oh, at 35, blah, 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 blah. And he stopped me mid-sentence. He goes, you're not 35. And I was like, no, I'm not. I'm 36. And it was just kind of like I would have never guessed that, because like, that's why I think that age isn't really the biggest thing, at least in this space.
The amount of times that people bring that up of like, really, you're that old, or it just it comes out at random times. Like, I mean, we know there's a gentleman in Premiere at Urban, and he has a daughter, and we were shocked by his age. I won't say who it is, but because he's hilarious. But yeah, no, there's times I think that definitely comes up where you kind of shocked and shell shocked about it. But I think also you make a good point though, Sam, about back to how they advertise axe throwing. and that swings into Erica's point of the 21 is that most of the people coming, they're coming just for just a 1 hour session or a corporate party. They're not coming there to. I'm gigging because I know what Erica's seeing. Okay, I don't know what she's seeing. I was like, put that way. That's bad to say. I know said person she is in. But yeah, most people don't come there to be joining League and dumping that kind of money. And she's right that the 21 and over definitely puts a little hindrance on it. It's great that we've started to accept younger throwers with a parent or guardian now to open it up. How much that's worked, I don't know. But then you're also, I think, factor in this is more not venues as a whole. You might be able to say, and correct me if I'm wrong if you think what you think of it, but the advertising of the axe community to everyone in, they just said US or in Canada, I would probably not honestly know about it unless word of mouth. It's not something that's, I feel, widely advertised to help them grow.
I think leagues aren't widely advertised. I think the act of axe, like the fun of axe throwing is out there advertising, but I think the idea of leagues is kind of like a second afterthought. And again, that could be where, you know, the person who told me about axes is older than me. You know,
yeah.
The person, you know, that maybe told somebody else, you know, they're going to tell, the people that I've tried to bring in are all my friends that are all, I would say, within 5 to 10 years of my age either way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
No,
and yeah, who you hear it from. Just like Erica said, it could be a seasoned. I mean, Hannah had been throwing. I had been throwing with Hannah for a couple of years already, so it wasn't someone who was also a brand new rookie or anything like that. You know, Hannah knew her stuff. She was well versed in just the axe community and having fun with it, and I think she knew that Erica would enjoy it too, as she has.
This is gonna go way off topic, but is it cool if I bring up something else?
Yeah.
Of course.
So Hannah specifically. So there's also some fun in the non-competitive world. I don't think Sam's ever got to witness it. I.e. the sprinkle cup.
The what?
Yes, the sprinkle cup. We haven't done that in a while.
We haven't done the sprinkle cup in a while because I don't think leagues have been big enough to do it. So Hannah is a casual thrower. She has thrown in a couple competitions here and there, but she doesn't really travel. But she's really into the social aspect of it.
Yeah.
She would run a sprinkle cup every single season, which were those that did not make playoffs. And it would be fun games. It would be our own tournament. It would be cakes with sprinkles on anything you could think of, decorations. It was just like a fun way to celebrate what we'd all done for, you know, however long. I unfortunately have never been able to participate in said sprinkle cup because of people not showing up for playoffs the first season. I had to play.
I mean, that's really cool though, and I think I don't know, I think that is really good because it emphasizes too that, you know, everyone does have different priorities in the community, and I think that some people are just there to have fun, and that's totally okay, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, her sprinkle cups were quite a sight to see. I mean, she would arrive.
I still have my trophies.
I still have mine too. I'll bring it on the next podcast. Yeah, she would come like an hour ahead, decorate the arenas. She would set up balloons, and like everyone got a trophy. It was a totally.
And we would learn how to put sprinkles on each of the trophies.
Yes, that's true. I think sometimes that was day of, and it was like, "Is it dry yet? Is it dry yet? Don't touch them. Gotta wait. But yeah.
Oh, that is, yeah, no, that's awesome. Okay, so I think that's like, I mean, mostly everything. Are there any fun, spicy takes about potentially, you know, the community or anything that like you just want to get out, you know?
I'm trying to think. Just don't be creepy. So like the only people that have ever rubbed me the wrong way at axe throwing are males that are creepy and weirdly like stare at you or like get in your space. So just don't do that.
I think
And like this. Go ahead.
okay, I was just gonna say I think that should just be like a hopefully a general life rule. Just don't be creepy.
Yeah, just don't be creepy. There's been times at like practice that people are just coming in to league and like we'll notice creepos just being in there and like we'll come over and like and talk to me like because I'm just practicing by myself. I'm just over there practicing by myself and people just come over and like stare at you and like try to bother you and don't do that. But there's also people in league and competitiveness that do that too. I'm not gonna name names.
I mean, you also have to point out also said instances during said practice of other groups being there that are not affiliated with anything with Urban doing the same touch acts.
Right.
Yeah. But then that's kind of that persona. It's unfortunate persona that, oh my God, this female's kicking ass at throwing in the board and
I am almost always wearing a skirt, like just because that's what I'm comfortable in. I'm always wearing a bright ass color. If you look at any pictures of any tournaments that I'm there, you could probably find me, because I'm wearing something bright. I kind of stick out like a sore thumb.
And that is the best part.
Yeah, I think that was. I mean, that was a good one. I mean, I agree. Don't be creepy.
Don't be creepy. Don't be creepy and just accept. We already talked about this, but just like accept everyone.
Yeah, I don't know that I have like. I think we covered most of my spicy takes. I feel like
I have a question for you guys.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
What's your overall like hopes and dreams for this podcast? Do you have a giant list of things you want to talk about? Do you have people that you do want to talk about? People you want to talk to? I clearly know, Graham's like my best friend, so that's why I'm here. But is there any like hopes, dreams, people you're hoping for in the future?
Absolutely, there's definitely absolutely. I think Sam and I, off podcasts, have definitely touched on that topic of we have definitely people we think are very vital to the community, people who we think we give very good insight to their own experiences on what they've gone through, or whether they're new to the sport, whether they're old to the sport, accomplishments we know they've already done, or whether or not they could be a maker. I feel like we felt like that was a totally other exciting part of being an axe thrower, is when you not only throw, but you also make the product as well. That's just amazing. Other than that, we've definitely touched on topics of choice that I think we would both like to discuss. Other than that, I think we both just see this as a very fun, I wouldn't just call it an experiment. It's not really an experiment. It's different from that. But I think we're just excited to see where it goes. So.
Yeah, I think.
What are you?
Okay, sorry.
It's okay.
I don't know. At least for me, this is definitely a fun thing. And I'm excited to talk about it. I don't know. I was just like, I've found this thing that I've now become engrossed in, and I was like, I think I just need to talk about it more. So yeah, but there's a lot of stuff that I think I'm we're both really excited to potentially talk about. I don't know, something that maybe could be fun, maybe if we get the opportunity to do it, would be to potentially like what's the word? Like maybe be a caster on like a tournament stream. Like that might be a fun little thing to do, but I don't know. I'm just here for the ride right now, I think. See how it goes, have fun.
And I think, I don't know about you, Sam. I know you've listened. You listened to a little bit of an Axe League of Their Own, the all women's podcast, and I've listened to that as well as I've listened to Bill Feinberg's podcast, an axe throwing podcast. That's what it's called. And I think we both took our own thoughts of both those podcasts to kind of make something unique of our own. And I think we both touched on the fact that I think you might have used the word. I mean, nerd is, I think, a pretty general term. I mean, you can call, I think, everyone to a degree in the axe throwing community a nerd for just any particular reason of who they are, of what makes them what a great thrower or person they are. So I think we've thought of using those two as a stepping stones to do something special on our own.
Yeah.
I think you should ask people what their other like nerdy thing. I think there should be like a poll that you should do of like, because you were talking about like subcultures and things like that. Do a poll of like what other like nerd culture that you find yourself a part of. Maybe not use the word nerd culture, but like personally, I'm a Harry Potter girl through and through. And I also am a big Marvel fan. So, and Disney. Well, Disney's probably pretty obvious. So like those are my big nerdy like things that I know. So doing a poll and just kind of seeing what is all out there, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, that's honestly, wait, that's a great idea. Hold on. Let me just like write that down.
I write it down.
I don't want to forget. Yeah, because I think too, like, I don't know. One thing that I really would like to get from this podcast overall is I think I want to continue to like see the axe community grow and flourish. Because I know it's continuing to do that, but I think I talked about this a little bit, I think, in the first episode, but for me coming in and being like, wow, this is so amazing. But then I was like, oh, wow. And just hearing like this venue's closing and this venue's closing and this is happening. And I was just like, oh, well, I don't know. That's kind of stinky. This is a really cool thing. And I don't want this to go away. So I think we should talk about it more. And I know that's one of the reasons that I was like, I think we should do this, more info, get more info on there, more eyes on it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so I know that we talked about it last week a little bit, but Choptober is still coming up, but now we also have, at least for the East region, the IATF East regionals have also been announced, and I don't know, Graham, if you know any like other events going on, or if you want to like talk about those, because I haven't been to either of those, so I don't know anything.
Yeah, with upcoming events, and obviously our awesome guest can also touch base because I know that she has signed up for some of those. But yes, I think most people know where you can find. I know you're going, Sam. I know Erica is as well, but you can find us at our next event, which will be October, up at Chopper's Hatchet House up in New Jersey.
Chopalicious.
Chopalicious, yes. But then following that will be the regionals.
The regionals is the next weekend. Yep.
Yeah. And Erica is partaking in part of it. I'm
going to do the women's tournament that's on Friday.
Yes.
X's and O's being as close as it was, I debated on doing both the women's and the regional itself. I just don't feel like driving back and forth 2 days in a row. It's close enough to not need to stay.
Exactly. You can't turn it down for how close it is. And
yeah. I just love X's and O's as a venue, so I wasn't missing it. I wasn't missing the chance to go.
you only love it because of waffles. And waffles. And I am blanking on the other dog's name, but you only love it for the dogs. So
No, I love Tara and Dean too.
yes, Sarah and Dean. Sarah who runs it, and Dean, I guess, is co-running. But yes, that is a wonderful venue. It'll be a great time for them hosting that for the IATF community. But other than that, I don't believe there's any other major events. I know there's some other smaller venues that are having small marathons. I know Medusa, I don't know, unfortunately, off the top of my head, but I know Medusa Meadery up in Lancaster,
I do.
Pennsylvania.
They're having their Harry Potter marathon.
Yes, that is one of the big ones. That's very exciting.
I'm gonna look up when it is.
Go for it. Yeah.
I know. I'm pretty sure it is November the 9th. It's either the 9th or the 10th.
I know it got shifted, but yeah, because they got some dates mixed up. But yes,
it's definitely the 9th or the 10th.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's a great event. Just briefly, if anyone loves Harry Potter as much as Erica, did you do it last time, Erica? You didn't do it, did you?
I didn't. I think we were out of town.
Oh, okay.
I'm almost positive we were on vacation last year.
Okay. Because I will say, for any Harry Potter fan or non-Harry Potter fan, it is a great activity. I partaked in it last year. You are sorted into to a respectable house. Sometimes they let you swap because you might not want to be you might be a Hufflepuff and you don't want to end up a Slytherin. But throughout your games of all your matches, if you win, you get a coin for your cup, and you place that in a cup. They have a nice little trophy cup, and at the very end, the house. Sorry, they're not teams; they're houses. Maybe Erica's not scolding me right now for my lack of Harry Potter terminology. And then at the very end, again, they have a trophy for the house that wins the most coins or matches, which is fun.
Hey, Graham, what house am I?
You're whatever house you want to be.
Wait, can I guess?
You're supposed to pay. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. I'm definitely between two right now, for sure. Okay. Is it Gryffindor? Okay, Hufflepuff? Okay. I knew it was one of those two. I wasn't sure which one, but it was.
Yeah.
What do you think about me, Sam?
Oh.
Erica knows what I am.
Okay, I only know 3 out of the 4 houses, and I think the one I'm thinking of for you is the one that I don't know. That's
Ravenclaw?
Ravenclaw, yes. Is it Ravenclaw?
It is Ravenclaw,
okay.
Yes. But all in all, Lancaster, Medusa Meadery, they put on a great show.
Mm-hmm.
It's always a great time. Sam, you've been up there.
Yes, very cool venue.
You
and I have not.
And I can't believe you still have not been up there. But it's a great time. A great group of people up there. They are always looking to overfill at capacity to have a great axe event, whether it's a marathon or just a tournament. So, and I believe.
I was gonna say no. I just have something really quick. So I know that the regionals. I think it was announced like kind of not too long ago. But do you guys think that Choptober and regionals, they're so close geographically? Do you think that having those two massive events so close to each other is actually a negative thing and might hurt the attendance of regionals because it was announced after Choptober?
So,
unless I'm wrong, I could be wrong.
I don't think regionals is always that well attended either. Not to like, not that it's not attended like a Choptober tournament or like an Urban Open tournament. It's much more intimate, I would say. I don't think there's hundreds of people going to regionals. Am I wrong, Graham?
No, but I was going to say, correct me as well, if the purpose of going to regionals is different than going to Choptober.
Correct.
It's more about getting that bid for winning at a regional for your region than Choptober, which you still get a bid. There's still bids on the line for Choptober, but it's definitely a different feel and different environment. And you're right. I think it's definitely less because everyone has their own, every competitor, or just every axe thrower, I'll say. I won't say every competitor because you don't have to be competitive to want to do a regional, you go in with your different goals. So if you feel like you want to try to make it to the great IATC championship up in Toronto, you can go many different paths to get there. If this is your way you want to go, great. But there's also other routes. So there is no right or wrong. It's whatever suits you.
I also think that regionals being regional is a lot of people that are going to be coming to, not everyone coming to Choptober, but there's going to be people coming from all other regions to Choptober. So those people are going to go to their own regional, which is closer by to their home. So I originally was very like, oh my God, they're literally weekends after each other.
Yeah.
You know, there's nobody going to be going. But again, I just said I can make a day out of it. I don't have to, you know, get a flight, get a hotel room, you know, take days off of work or anything to go to my regional. I know some people will have to, but it's just.
Well, I think you touched on also that the fact that the proximity of the dates of both, we've seen it on Facebook group chats of people unfortunately having to pick one or the other, both for cost reasons possibly, as well as just them being just spanned too close together. So it's unfortunate.
I think it'll switch over now that they just redid everything. Every single time they redo something, something seems to be a little bit off.
Yeah. Something
like when they switched
rescheduling.
Lady Blades to January.
Yeah.
You know, it got switched, I don't want to say last minute, but definitely not, you know, everyone was used to it being at a specific time, and then it, you know, all of a sudden got switched to January. So it's happened before.
Yeah. And this is the first time. So they always do these and things get worked out.
I think they'll figure it out.
Yeah, they
Okay.
absolutely will.
That makes sense. I was just curious about it because I was like looking at it, I was like, that's kind of sus right there. But no, I think you guys brought up a lot of good points. Yeah.
But yeah, you will see myself at Choptober, and you'll see Erica at Choptober. Sam, you were planning to, I believe, come up and at least do some viewing of Choptober?
Yeah, I haven't, I'm still iffy on the day. I haven't decided, but I'll be there at least
Okay.
one of the 3 days. So
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps. Yeah, so Bose, did you have any because I know you plan a lot of events for the axe community and do a lot of stuff. Did you have anything that you wanted to like shout out?
So I do a lot of things for the X community, but it's technically, I don't want to say, I think the X community is a huge role in it, but my goal is actually to raise money for Special Olympics. So each year I raise $15,000 for Special Olympics here in Maryland. And I do it mostly through the X community. I would say within the last 2 years that I've fundraised, 70 to 80% of my money has come from the axe world, whether it be through an event, whether it be through attending the non-axe throwing events that I have. I recently had a huge event and successful event down in Pittsburgh that was, we raised, over $7,000. Right now I'm selling raffle tickets to win money, if anyone wants some money.
To buy some more axes. So come on, win-win.
Buy some more axes. But I just do it for the Special Olympic athletes who, if you're ever at Urban Open or the Urban Open or just in Baltimore, when you're walking out of the building behind the wall that has the desks, there is a giant thank you sign because Urban Axes has been a sponsor of the Maryland Super Plunge for 2 years. And all of the Special Olympics athletes have signed that board. Fun fact.
That's
Very
awesome.
fun fact.
Did you know what that was for, Sam?
No.
It's fine.
Okay.
If you didn't know, that's fine. It's just that's what it's from.
That's so awesome though. I know I've actually never got the chance to ask you this, but like, so why, I guess, like, you know, if you don't mind me asking, you don't have to share if you don't know, but like, why did you get into fundraising for like the Special Olympics?
So I originally got into the special, needs community through my best friend Emily, and her brother, who I would probably also consider my best friend Chris, up in Buffalo. Started volunteering at a really, really young age, at 7th grade. And then I became a special ed teacher. I am now a service coordinator for adults with disabilities. It's the same, like everybody needs a place to belong. And with Special Olympics, it gives people a place to belong. And the one thing I will say that the X community very much did, I brought, 5 athletes to last year's event?
I think it's like 5, yeah.
Yeah. I didn't bring them. They all decided to come to the X event at Urban, and they all brought their trading cards, and everyone just treated them, and welcomed them into the community, which is, my hopes for bringing both together.
I remember you were so worried about them throwing and being able to, I think, do that. And yet they all excelled at it so wonderfully and caught on to how to throw an axe, and they enjoyed it so much.
I wasn't worried about the people, that's for sure.
Okay.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh my gosh, that's so heartwarming. I think that's a pretty good place to wrap up here. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much, Bose, for being on this episode.
Thank you guys for bringing me in. I will try to listen. I hate the sound of my own voice, but I will do my best to try to listen.
Yeah, so I think we've got some upcoming fun topics as well as some fun guests potentially in the near future, so stay tuned. But here on NAMP, we're not axe murderers, but
axe throwers. I totally forgot we were about to do that. And, yeah, I dropped the ball. I think it was better the first episode than this one.
Yeah, well, it's fine.
We're growing, Graham. We're growing.
Yeah. But
we're growing.
Oh my god. I forgot about this sound effect.
I did too, and I'm like, this is it. This is my time.
But make sure to comment and like and subscribe. I don't know, share if you want, if you enjoyed this. But yeah, thanks for watching. Bye.
Bye.